Hello, it's Thursday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Thematically Speaking, and I'm going to get straight to it. So first, it's from thrillnation. He does everything behind the scenes, he tells me. Here's Austyn Green. How you doing, Austyn?
All good, thank you. How are you?
I am really good, but the link got screwed, so not everyone might be on this straight away. And my second guest is going to tell us about Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, and everything else. It is Owen Taylor. How you doing, Owen?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
Up. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. We'll start off. We'll talk about towers because I went on opening day, and so did Austyn. And then I think Owen went on the Tuesday after opening weekend. Yeah, I also want to talk about Owen about. It was the first time you drove. You went today and yesterday, didn't you? It was the first time you drove yourself.
Yeah, drove yesterday. I went with Adam yesterday, so I was with someone, and that was more stressful with Adam than driving on my own today. Even though I was driving in the snow as well today. But yeah, I think it was a bit scary, but it was fun though. Those roads are definitely scarier than the rides there now.
What was the weather like when you were driving?
It was okay yesterday. It was snowing today though on the way there, and then heavy snow on the way back. But I was stuck behind two coaches on the way back because there was a lot of school trips. So I think
through that valley.
Helped.
Did you go through the valley? Oh,
yeah,
God.
yeah. But like slowly going uphill, following two coaches wasn't very fun.
So Austyn, how was your time on opening day? So I'm just getting the link out to everyone.
Yeah, I like I said, didn't do too many rides on the Saturday. To be fair, I was there for the
Saturday. Did more than me.
I did what, 4? I did 4 or 5 rides. In the space, but I did obviously. I stopped for like a good portion, a good hour and a half or so, and had a few drinks and enjoyed the actual sunny weather for a change on opening weekend. So yeah, that was nice. But yeah, I was only in the park till about 3 o'clock because it was quite busy. It's weird to see both. Like I went to Thorpe's opening weekend and Towers opening weekend. I've not seen both parks that busy, like at the start of the year, like that for a while.
It was busy in the queue lines. It wasn't busy elsewhere. I got on Gangster Granny, and I think I got on London Dungeons, not London, Alton Towers Dungeons, and then Jewel. That was about it.
Well, yeah, but I got conned out on Gangster Granny because that's where I saw you. But I only went. It said 5 minutes on the app, but it was not 5 minutes.
When you came in, you're like, "This is funny 5 minutes."
It was like at the back of the building. So, but it's all right. It was only 20 minutes or so. So it's all right. It'll do.
But we'll talk with Austyn first. Do you want to talk about how thrillnation started?
Yeah, can do. So yeah, with thrillnation, I started it back in 2012. Now I know I started it in. I've literally got it in my calendar because it's 10 years doing it this year, which is crazy. But I started it because like loads of other people, like they still do now. Loads of people make pages on theme parks and stuff like that, and God knows if it's the same now, but when I started 10 years ago, no one really wanted to work together with things. So I actually made a page before thrillnation, but it was only up for a couple of months. And then I joined up with another person at the time called Chris, and me and him started thrillnation from scratch. And then, yeah, we built it from there over the years, covering just UK theme parks at that point. So we just, Thorpe Park, Towers, Cheshunt, essentially Merlin stuff. And then we slowly got bigger. We got invited to our first press night at Thorpe Park. And then we had a change of team. They decided, I had a small team there, I had Chris and Johnny. They decided to go do their own thing, which was fair enough. And so
I don't know if I want to mention his name now. He probably won't mind. But I remember, was Swaziland a part of it as well?
No, he was never a part of it.
Oh, because I remember he was your friend at the time.
Yeah. So obviously we did loads of things. Like we spent a lot of time like riding the Swarm at Thorpe Park. Like back in the day, we used to have it's probably the geekiest thing I've ever done is have a ride counter clicker to count how many times I went on the Swarm back then. Like we used to like marathon it 15, 20, 25 times a day. But yeah, no, he was never a part of thrillnation. No, he just we just met.
I remember around that time. I think I can't remember when I first met you, but then you introduced me to TPM, and you've reminded me of that because the count how many times you went on Swarm. Do you remember with Jack Stevens used to count how many inversions he went through a year?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, he used to dispute obviously how many would be on the Swarm and stuff. I remember that he was like, "Oh, don't count what it says on the website." because it was like, wasn't there the whole thing of like, is it an aversion or is it not an aversion?
Do they count that as an aversion on Swarm? That
Yeah, they did.
ranked?
The Themepark did back in the day. They did. I don't know if they do now.
I think you had an argument because, and people might comment about it as well, but they counted that as an inversion, and I always said because of that I technically counted that bit off on Saw the Ride when it comes back through that half loop and then it banks round.
Yeah,
and you'd always tell me, no, that's not.
Yeah, it's what the park counts, wasn't it? It was yeah. That's what I went with. I was like, but yeah, I remember Jack saying 4. But...
I remember I like I don't know if it was your first logo, but it doesn't really work when you're looking at a still image. But you had the video of that Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, Christ, that was.
I love that one. Yeah, I don't know how many logos you went through.
When I did when I had a YouTube channel and everything, and had like more of a snippets on Facebook. That was back in the really early days. Well, that must have been, I say early days, probably 3-4 years in. That was when I was doing that. But that was back with the original team of Thrillnation, and then now obviously it's changed.
Are you the only person that stayed the course?
Well, yeah, it was the original team of Thrillnation was me and Chris, and then we took someone called Johnny on board, and then I've had help from other people over the years. Loads of people like Kieran helped me years ago. Jack's helped me. So I've had people like that. And then now it's just me and Dean. So which was surprising at the time, because when I offered Dean to assist me, it was more on just a trial basis, and then
he passed the audition, did he?
He passed the audition. That was it. He smashed it with flying.
Am I allowed to mention something? There's a reason I think it's weird. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention this now. Do you remember what happened on TPM on the forums?
No, I don't. I mean, it's back.
This was before we knew Dean. Do you remember? Because we both joined.
Who is DGC?
Yeah, well, DGC. Who is he? And you mocked up shirts on spreadsheet, and then didn't Mark, who runs TPM, get in touch with you and say, "You've got to stop this. It's going viral."
Yeah, you know what? It's still on the forum. We literally looked back the other day because we was looking back at
the
weird bits.
We were both new members that year, and one of the awards at the end of the year was Best New Member. And we both tied for third, I believe. And Dars came first, and we were like, yeah, that's understandable. But we didn't even know who this Dean Gary Cox was. We were like, hang on, we've been beaten by someone Best New Member, and no one knows who he is.
There's still a post on the forums from me that says, who is DGC? And it's a whole thing on the forums, because we were looking back, because there was
Why were you looking back?
Because I was hanging around, because I still speak to Pete from TPM, who used to run all the meets, and because he was obviously admin there and running the meets, we was looking back, and you could see it was funny to see, because he gave warnings to people like Dars and me, and it was like reading back them kind of messages just to have a laugh, really.
Oh God, Dars! I don't know if I could have Dars on the show. I don't know what he'd say. He's quite hyper at times, isn't he? It's fun.
You know what? I haven't spoken to Dars in years now, but when I last saw him, he was still hyper as anything when he was in London. But he's jetting off and everywhere now. So
I've got a pretty random story about Dars. So there's a nightclub in Liverpool called G-Bar that's one of our after-hour clubs, and I didn't have a clue who this person was, and we were just talking downstairs in the basement, and I don't know why, for some reason he looked on my phone, and I had Swarm as my screensaver at the time, and he was like, oh, I work on that ride. And then we just seemed to get chatting after that.
Oh,
and
so
then
before I was still working at Themepark.
Yeah, this was a good couple of years ago now. And then like I said, add me on Facebook, and then we had 80 something mutual friends. And then I was like, oh my God, how have I never bumped into you before in here? And it was I think it was one of his first times going to one of those clubs in Liverpool. And it was just really random out of all the people I could have bumped into, and happened to look at my phone. It was Dars.
He does get around. Not in that kind of way.
He's gonna flag this video now.
Probably did.
Why are people talking about it? Not like that. But no, he does get around. So.
Yeah.
What about when go back nearer the start? Do you remember on? I'm saying all the stuff for you now, but do you remember on Thrillnation? Was it a big? Did it help a lot at the start? Because I remember you got onto that holiday was it a holiday booking website for Port Ventura?
Yeah, that was.
You actually got mentioned on there.
Probably that was a really weird time. That was such a weird relationship, and I still don't know how it happened. And I kind of do, because we did a little bit of YouTube back then, and
do you do YouTube now?
Not really, a little bit. We've got the odd video, but literally we don't. It's not something pushed, because it's not something we have.
Probably be something good to push at Halloween when you do the scare stuff?
To be fair, we're so like the reviews carry themselves now. Like the reviews are like the reviews hit like top page on Google, which baffles us every time. We're so happy with it. And like we only last year did we start, only the Halloween season just gone, we started doing TikTok. So we don't want to YouTube so much time. Like it's really weird, like because we don't do as much as other people at points, but we do different stuff which actually is all time consuming. So doing YouTube, I would need to book the whole of October off, I think, to make that work. Because we do like, what, 20, 25 events during Halloween? And we like
maybe more than that.
Them. So it's crazy. So yeah, we don't even.
What was your favourite? Well, did you go to Europe as well to do Halloween events?
Yeah, we tried to do one like European road trip each year for Halloween. So we went. Did we go the last Halloween? We went to. What did we do? Christ, it all blurs into.
It was that good, was it? It was that good.
I remember.
What was your favourite UK one? What was your favourite UK one?
It was Fear Avon last year. Fear Avon with that was like the best event overall, and that had their new Maze Malefica, and that was outstanding. There was nothing that topped that this year, which was really good because we got to speak with the team on it, and they were saying that is the level that they now want to transform the event to. They wanted to take a massive step up and bring their other attractions to this. And we heard all of this before we even went on it. So we were expecting good things. And then we were quite thankful we got to do it 2 or 3 times during that night on press night. And because it opened late as well. And yeah, it was incredible every time. It had like different different introductions to it, which I don't think the average person would have known. And it also just had so many variable factors to it, which just made it terrifying. So yeah, that's the best. That was the best UK one last year. So I think that's going to take a lot to beat it this year.
And what was your favourite one, Owen? I was going to go to Owen later on. I'm answering Lewis at the bottom, but we can go into Dubai now if that's what the people want.
That's what the people want. To be fair, I want to go back to Dubai.
It's one of the few places in the world that Austyn probably hasn't been to. So
not yet. Next year.
Yeah,
next
yeah.
Year. So, oh,
I've got some photos here.
Ah, yeah. So that's IMG Worlds of Adventure.
Oh yeah, I'll stop these. I'll stop scrolling. Yeah. Was this at IMG? I forgot the photos you sent me, and then I kind of put them in a bit of an order that made more sense, but.
Yeah, I sent them in a bit of a random order, but that like first photo was me at IMG. I think that was the first park of the trip that we did. So that's just an all indoor park. I think it might be one of the world's biggest actually. I think it's bigger than Ferrari World.
Is that because they need to air condition it as well? Because I imagine it's quite hot there.
Yeah, it's ridiculously hot. They have a ride called Velociraptor that I continuously kept calling Velocicoaster when I was there. But Velociraptor that shoots out of the building, and it's just like a wall of heat when you launch out, and it's a blue fire clone, so it's nothing amazing, but it was still good. But yeah, that park's really good because it's got some really good IPs. It's got Avengers and stuff. So it's got a big Marvel area, and then it's got Cartoon Networks as well. I can't really remember the other areas, but I remember those two being really prominent ones there. They've got a dinosaur.
Was that the same part?
This is a different part. This is Motion Gate. This is like semi-outdoors. So they've got a massive area called like DreamWorks. That's indoors, and that's got like How to Train Your Dragon, Madagascar, Shrek. I think Kung Fu Panda as well. And that's the indoor section there, and that's really good. It's really well themed, and then they've got a lot of outdoor rides. So they've got Capital Bullet Trains. That's Hunger Games. They've just opened John Wick's as well. That's like in the Motion Gate, Lionsgate area.
What kind of ride's that?
I think it's an SNS 4D free spin. That wasn't open when we were there. It was being built. But the Mack launch coaster that was open. That was decent. It wasn't very big. It was quite small, but it was okay. It was a shuttle coaster, so yeah. Launched forwards, then went up the spike backwards, and then launched forwards and done the rest of the layout. And it was probably only about 20 seconds the layout after the launches, but it was decent.
This reminds me of, sorry, I don't know if anyone's seen it. We probably have. We know in Home Alone 2 when that older woman is living in the roof of that theatre, and there's little windows like this where these lights are coming out, and it reminds me of that theatre from Home Alone 2. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Do you know the bit? I mean,
yeah.
For some reason it just reminded me of that. Yeah. Oh, that's a bullet train.
Yeah, so that's Capital Bullet Train. Yes, that's Hunger Game themed. That was really good. Yeah, It had decent airtime, to be honest. It had a couple of nice pops and decent forces. That was Hotel Transylvania, the massive dark ride there. And I've seen a lot of rave reviews about that, but honestly, it was really bad. It was terrible.
Was it one of these trackless
It was
ones?
trackless, yeah. I don't know if it was maybe the animatronics weren't working. I don't know what, but I just thought it was really poor. I didn't like that. That's it from the distance. So it had really good force.
Most of the stuff in English.
Yeah, pretty much everything's in English. That's Velocicoaster, Velociraptor. Yeah, that's the one at IMG. That one's Blue Fire Clone. Not much to say about that, but it was good. Those were two rides that spited us. So the Starflyer, and I don't think the Starflyer was actually open the whole time we were there, but it had opened a few months before. But I think that's called Bombay Express. That's in Bollywood Park, and that was closed. It's still not open. It's been constructed for like over a year now. I'm not sure what's going on because they said it was going to be open for the expo. But yeah,
are you a fan of Starflyers?
No, absolutely hate them. Absolutely hate them. No, I don't like Starflyers at all. That's Wild Wadi. So that's the big water park in front of the Burj Al Arab. That's quite one of the an iconic hotel. It's a 7-star hotel in Dubai, and this water park's right in front of it, and it's really really well themed. And they've got like master blasters that get you around the whole park. So it's quite unique the way they do it. It's really cool, that water park. The second water park we went to, though, the one on the Palm, I think it was called Aqua Adventure Water Park at the Atlantis. That's the best water park I've ever done to, like hands down. That was better than even the theme parks that we went to. That was just amazing. But it's that big. They have like golf buggy type things that take you from one side of the park to the other, and it's over 1 kilometer long. What's insane for a water park. But yeah, it was amazing.
Was there a lot of chance of you burning yourself when you got out the water?
Well, yeah, but we bought like those water t-shirts that you get. We bought those because I
guess
literally
you both there, right?
Yeah, you definitely do, because I burn just looking at the sun through a window, let alone being in the sun. So yeah, we bought one of those water t-shirts each because we both got ginger skin. So I was like, we're not getting the chance of burning at all. And yeah, we were fine with them on. And I prefer them going down the slides as well, the body slides, because if they are like bumpy, if they've got like bad, like, I don't know, welding on it, whatever it is.
There's so many of them about, especially outside the UK.
Yeah, so I always prefer to wear a water t-shirt when it comes to water parks now, just to save me back getting scratched up.
Let's carry on these photos. I don't want to go through the photos too quick for you.
It's okay.
About halfway. That's the same park, isn't it? I think.
That one, that's the park at the Atlantis. So that's one of, I think it was like one of 7 slide towers. They counted something ridiculous. I think there's like 157 attractions there, but that's counting pools as well. But I think there's about 50 slides in total, and there's that slide that drops and then goes through the shark tank, like the one at Siam Park, and then there's like a lazy river type ride that goes through the shark tank as well. That was really cool. I've never done anything like that before. That water slide that we're looking at there, that was probably the best one out of the raft slides. So that was really really good. I think that was on Poseidon's Tower, and then you can see just to the right of the tower or left, I'm not too sure, but there's body slides that do loops as well. So they're.
Did you go on any of the slides, Owen?
Did I go on any of them?
Yeah. The body slides.
Oh, the body slides. Adam, that's good from Adam. He got me on one. I'm not a big fan of body slides. There was not a chance I was going on any trapdoor slides. But he did get me on one body slide. It was quite fast, but I think I set off halfway through it, so it slowed me down. I really do not like body slides. David's asked what my favourite ride in Dubai was. Probably Velociraptor, to be honest, or the Avengers Dark Ride at IMG. That was absolutely amazing. I've not done a like really big scale dark ride before, like on the, on that terms, and it was absolutely it was amazing. Like the theming and so like I don't really know much about Avengers. I'm not a massive Marvel fan, but I could still really appreciate that ride. It was fantastic. It was. I'm not too sure what the storyline was. It was, the whole typical, you need to go and save the day and stuff like that. It was the generic storyline.
Oh, the DreamWorks has come up finally.
Yeah, there's
you mentioned that earlier.
DreamWorks. Yeah. So like that behind, like.
So is that all like AstroTurf? Because in that kind of climate, I can't imagine, or do just.
No, it is grass. It's just
loads of sprinklers.
Loads of like little sprinklers. I don't know how the parks make any money, because there must have only been about 200 people when we were there. Everything was completely walk on, and there was probably about 10 staff per person. It was insane, and they had every single food cart open. the rides were on full train operations if they could be. And the ops were honestly really good. And like sometimes from like an operational like standpoint, I was like watching it thinking, just hold the train another 20 seconds and you'll fill it. Like stop sending it with like 2 people on. But like at the same time, it was really good for us because we could get multiple re-rides really quick. But
what was the batching like there?
The what? The batching?
Yeah, I suppose it was quite good because it wasn't that busy.
Yeah, at IMG, it was probably the worst out of the two, but it wasn't bad by any means. But at Motion Gate, they were like, if there was 2 people in the queue, like walking up the queue, and you were waiting in the seats, they wouldn't wait for those people. They'd send you straight away, and you'd be the only people going around on that ride. They were really quick with it, but because nobody speaks the same languages, have like different ways of communicating that
Oh, they don't all. I just assume they all speak English.
No, because a lot of them are from like they're all expats. So you've got people from I don't know, like Somalia, and then you'll have people from India and stuff. So like none of them actually speak the same language to each other. So they have like all like signals that they use and that, and it's really quite cool to watch. And they're really quick with it as well. So it is interesting because it's a completely different way to how you'd operate rides here.
So Lewis, I was asking, what's your top 5 in the UK, Owen?
So I said,
do you already know it?
Yeah.
You're the kind of person who's already got the in their head. Yeah.
I've got it's always Icon. Icon's always my number one at Pleasure Beach. Absolutely. Then I sometimes toy between Icon and the Smiler because front row on Smiler I do think is better than Icon.
Is Smiler as good as it was when it opened?
I think it's better now. I think it, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it's actually better now. I find it more forceful, but I don't know if that's because maybe the hype of opening has died down for me because I thought it was the world's best ride when I first went on it, and then realised no, it's like there are better rides out there. But I do think a front row ride on Smiler is my number one in the UK. But overall, it's Icon because you always get a good ride no matter where you sit on that. Whereas Smiler is just a little bit too rough on the other rows. So yeah, Smiler and Icon, they go between 1 and 2. Then Swarm, probably number 3. Then Nemesis, number 4. And then probably Inferno, number 5. So yeah, quite a lot of B&Ms in there. And then Gerst as well. And
have you got a top 5, Austyn?
I know. See, I'm a bit boring. A couple of years ago, I stopped doing because everyone's got their top 5 or top 10. So I tried to be a little bit different. I used to
top
do
11.
I don't use my Twitter often, but when I did, I used to do like the top 5 worst rides that I've been on that year. But I got a lot of hate because I've got a controversial opinion to Owen, whereas I find Icon one of the worst rides in the UK. So, but that is a massive.
I think that's going to annoy a lot of people.
Well, it does. Swear on the podcast.
When I posted it on Twitter, as I did it one year, I did it as a joke where I listed Icon as the 5 worst rides that have been on in the UK. I listed Icon for all 5 of them, and I pretty much got death threats sent to me. So it was people really took it to heart, and I was like, it was honestly a joke, but I don't joke about it. For me, Icon is literally one of the worst rides in the UK. So, but it's everyone's
what are your 5 favourite rides in the UK, Austyn? Well, I don't like Icon.
that's what you're going to get out of me. No, I mean, I haven't got a top 5. Like I said, I try and ride as much.
Well, have you not got like a top 1 or 2 or rides that you think deserve a mention, an honourable mention?
The Swarm, I like I said, I enjoy the Swarm. I've ridden that like hundreds of times now over the years, and it was like one of the first coasters I got to fully appreciate and get there for opening day. And I've climbed the lift hill, I've done special events, I've been in promotional photographs, so it has a lot more than like a good ride as well. But yeah, apart from that, Nemesis, Inferno,
just all Thorpe rides.
No, Nemesis and Nemesis Inferno are obviously all good. Smiler's good.
Wicker Man.
It's the thing is that there's a lot. It's hard to compare really because now I go a lot more to European parks and stuff like that. The parks over there really, in my eyes, overshadow what.
Oh yeah.
To offer.
It's like they're not afraid to spend the money because they know they're going to make it back.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you go to like the Ride to Happiness at Plopsa, and Plopsa is one of my like worst rated parks across the whole of Europe. That
got mentioned last week. It was Joe's 900th coaster. All right, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
Tried
people
it.
go to it now, but it's like one of my worst rated parks. Like I've been to the park so many times, and I don't. It's not like the park's okay, but it's like on the same scale as like one of the like Oakwood or like
Drayton Manor.
yeah, kind of like around that kind of theme. So it's okay to go maybe every couple of years, but what's odd now is having the Ride to Happiness. It's like you
Stands out.
That's such a, it doesn't fit the park, but it's good for them because it's going to bring so much attention, and it already has. So, and it's such a good ride. I've not had a bad ride on it, and I've probably ridden it like 15, 20 times over the 3 times I've been on it since it's open.
Would you say that's your favourite outside the UK?
Currently, yeah, that's that overtook. Oh god, I'm going to forget names now. Oh god, I can't. Is it a park in? Is it Finland, Sweden?
Linnanmäki?
Yeah, Linnanmäki, the launch coaster there. That was my number one before.
So, talking about Europe, do you prefer city parks, or do you think they don't really compare, or do you think it's better? Like if we're talking about Leesburg or Leesburg, I call it Leesburg, or Gruneland. I like Gruneland. That's my favourite park in Sweden.
I had such a great time at Greenland. Like that park is such a great atmosphere. Like
to it. I was going to say, if you had you probably didn't need to pay to get in anyway, but if you're an ECC member, you can get in for free.
Yeah, I don't actually know what I did for that. I think I got tickets. I did generally think I got tickets for that one though. It's a few years ago I went, but it was one of these parks that, like, it's just the atmosphere. It's so weird in them parks like that and like Leesburg and stuff. It's because it's not all about the rides. Like a lot of people go there for a fancy meal. A lot of people go there and play like the stall games and stuff.
Oh, Dan's watching. Sorry, I interrupted there.
That's all good.
Dan's watching because I saw on Facebook last night he got engaged at Disneyland Paris. I wasn't going to mention it because I didn't think he was watching. So I'll say congratulations to Dan.
Yeah. Congratulations, Dan.
He's engaged.
Oh.
If you could all bring back one coaster CK, what would it be, and what park?
From Europe.
Yeah, Mac.
But where would you put it?
It probably would fit well at Towers, to be honest. If you can seclude it with the scenery there, it probably would work. Whereas
if you'd asked me this like
theming,
if you'd asked me this like 10 years ago, or just over, I probably would have said back when they were in fashion, put a topple tower at Chessington because that just would have fit. But I'd actually say something like, just because there's only one in the world, as far as I'm aware, an SNS free fly for like the one at Skara Summerland. I don't know if you've been.
No, I've seen it though.
Yeah,
that's insanely brilliant for what it is and what it does. That's what park would I put out though? I don't know. I really, really don't know. So we're going through these photos anyway. We got sidetracked.
Oh, more photos.
Yeah, that's the river rapids. To be honest, for a country as hot as Dubai, you'd think the rapids would be a bit better. But
did you get wet or not?
No, you got some splashes, but it was like Congo River Rapids wet. Not the best.
Turn the waterfalls off.
Yeah. So that's the Gerst bobsled. It's pretty similar to Cobra. It's got a different layout, but if you've ridden Cobra at Poulton's Park, you know what to expect with that. It's got pretty decent theming in the inside bit as well. It's themed to Green Lantern. I think it's like a Hornet theme or something like that.
Oh, the Green Hornet. Yeah.
Yeah. It's themed to that. That's so that's inside the DreamWorks. So that's a Gerst.
Is that more Madagascar?
Yeah, that's the Madagascar area, but that's the fastest ride in the park. It's amazing, that one. I think, to be honest, actually, now that I think of it, that's the best coaster I've done in Dubai. Not in the UAE, but definitely Dubai. It's a Gerst Infinity coaster, so the Smiler, but with lap bars. But it's just got a really, really rapid launch. It's really good and some seriously good airtime as well. And you can't really see it there because it's all covered, but it's got a really good top hat that you go over like stupidly fast, and you get ejected out. So yeah, that's a good coaster. That's a bit of a hidden gem, really, because you can't see it anywhere. You just see a little corner come over the entrance, and that's it. So yeah, that's a good ride.
Yeah, Hero is definitely one of the worst coasters in the UK. You've been on Hero, Austyn?
I have only once though, and it was just because it was busy on that day that I went. Because I've only been to the park once. So, but yeah, I mean it's not great, but I definitely think. See, this is where things get really controversial because I generally had a better time on Hero than I did on Icon, and that is really going to wind people up. So,
I had a better time getting thrown around a cage than driving in a car.
Well, that's what he likes, I guess.
No, but honestly, it depends what you're after. But for me, Icon really doesn't bring anything to the table. But I mean, going into it only digs a hole within the community. So
is it because there's not enough speed to it? Because it kind of flows, and it kind of has points where it's hard to explain, really.
No, but it's just the thing is, I want a coaster that like keeps you interested. Like that's the.
I feel like that kind of slows down in places to kind of.
The only reason why you could ride Icon, like for me, the only reason why I would ride Icon more than once in a day is because some of the other coasters in Blackpool aren't really re-rideable because they're more rough and things like that. But to me, Icon doesn't bring anything to the table for the amount of money I think it costs and everything else that it could have brought. They could have brought a lot more to the table. But
wait, they are bringing more to the table.
Yeah, they are.
Enzo,
£15 a ride.
Again, with Enzo, it's kind of
15. I thought it was 12.
No.
Jeez, that's gone up since the last time.
£15 a ride or 25 if you want to skip the queue.
You have to like compare it as well now. So like Enzo's going to cost what, £15, £20 for a single ride. Park Asterix are open Tonari to Zeus or whatever it is, and they're doing the back carriages backwards for €12. So for a tenner, you're getting, in my eyes, a much better ride, and it's a much more reasonable value. I mean, £10 still a lot for a single ride, but
would it not make more sense to make the whole train like that?
Well, yeah and no, but I guess it's an upsell experience, isn't it? If you make it limited,
but you're going to be very limited to the.
But see, for me, Park Asterix I think it has the customer base that it will pull a long enough queue. Like you will be queuing and paying €12. Whereas, I mean, I just don't know if the UK, for a park like Blackpool, if it would pull in the market for like people to afford it. Like how many people go to Blackpool in a day, and how many people it's going to require to pay that? Is it really going to draw in enough customers for that row to constantly be filled? And then are they going to let it go empty, or are they going to fill it with regular that's
they can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, you fill it with regular guests, they'll suddenly be annoyed they've paid £12. They'll be like, hang on. That's like going into Tesco and buying some vodka, and then suddenly they go, we can't actually shift it. Does someone else want a free bottle now? And you'd be like, I've just paid.
Well, but that's the thing. But are they really just going to let it go empty all of that time? So if no one buys it,
that's probably why it's only one car, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's going to be the thing. But I mean, it'd be interesting to see, like obviously after the initial hype of it, but it'd be good to see like during like the busier times as well, like during the Saturdays.
I feel like I called it on Galactica, even though I feel like everyone called it that it was just a fad.
Yeah, it's a bit of a gimmick, isn't it?
I think what's going to happen is there'll be people, and no offense to them because it's like their job in a way, there'll be people that get it for free to review it. So it'll be busy at first with all them getting it for free and doing it. There'll be a few people that see the reviews that might be good and go, oh yeah, I'll pay for it. Then after that, I don't think anyone will bother at all.
No.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's just going to be like when you get your park ticket and stuff like that, is it really going to be like, are you going to really ride it more than one time that day for that price?
No, definitely. It would make more sense to have a ticket where you can ride it unlimited times in a day.
Yeah. But again, the whole package is they can tailor it however they wish. After they launch it, if it doesn't go the way they want it, they can bring the price down. They can add the more like 3 rides on it for this price. They'll tailor it.
They do that at Towers for Scarefest.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know about. I just started asking and said, I'd go on this the second time if it wasn't as expensive the second time. And then he went, okay, do you want to go on for £3? It's like, all right.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So I think they'll tailor it depending on the popularity. But I don't know. I just think there's again, it's quite high price compared to other experiences of the same nature. Like if you think about when the Swarm did its gimmick of going backwards, that was free. I know this is spinning, but I think
spinning is going to be down to the weight of the riders to a degree, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd be
that's going to greatly affect, and then you've only got one shot.
You're going to be annoyed if you paid £15 and then you don't actually get a good spin. Like, it's just one of those things. If you just look at Pleasure Beach's social media pages, there's just constant comments about how expensive the park is already. So then adding another £15 on top of that, I just can't see it working.
How much is their annual pass?
I think an annual pass is 180 when you don't get it as a renewal or in the sale. At the moment, it's 180. I think they're actually sold out now, though. You can't buy them for this season anymore. But yeah, I think the annual pass is a pretty decent value for money, but only because of how expensive the on the gate price is nowadays. You know, on the contrast, like you can get a million annual pass for so many other parks for a tiny bit more than a Pleasure Beach pass. And I don't think it's badly priced, and it's a family park and stuff. But I think on the day tickets at Pleasure Beach are just insanely priced for the type of park it is.
On this photo, is that blue bit in the middle? Is that a hole straight through the building?
Yeah, yeah. So it's like the structure. That's the Atlantis Hotel. It's right at the end of the palm, and yeah, it's just a massive hole that's in it, like a shaped hole, because it's all themed to like the lost city of Atlantis, and then that spreads into the water park. So to the right
Oh, so
wing,
the sun goes through that and makes a shape.
Yeah, it's honestly really cool. It's one of the most amazing hotels I've ever seen, because you can go in and there's like a Lost Chambers. It's called the Lost Chambers Aquarium, something like that. It's similar to a Sea Life. And when we went into there, we just went to have a look around and that. And there's like a shopping mall inside it. There's a full aquarium. Then you've got the world's biggest water park attached to it. It's just insane. And we only saw probably, I'd say, about 10% of that hotel. It's just mental how big it is.
Well, most of these attractions you went to. Sorry. Sorry.
No, sorry. I was just going to say, like, everything in Dubai is like scaled. So it's just everything's so huge that it's like you need time over there just because of how much there is to see, right?
Is it quite busy or is it quite?
Well, we went pandemic times, and it was still busy. So it's a massive tourist hotspot, Dubai. Like I think
there's quite a lot of people around.
Yeah, you don't see really anybody walking around in the streets because of how hot it is. But if you like go onto the metros or go into any of the attractions or inside the malls, that's where you'll find everyone. But it is a really busy city. The roads are chaotic because nobody can walk out there because of how far everything is from each other. Because I think a lot of people just think Dubai is just that. You see all the skyscrapers and it's all in the same location. But like IMG World's Adventure, that's a good 50 minutes from the city centre, and then Motion Gate is right down at the end of the metro line, and then a 15-minute taxi from there as well, and that's probably about 50 minutes as well from the city centre. So it's pretty far, to be honest. The good thing out there though is transport is extremely cheap. So if you get the metro from like one end of Dubai to the other, the most expensive fare is about £1.80. So you're looking at like less than a fiver to get to the Motion Gate anyway, because the petrol's cheap out there as well. So the taxis are dirt cheap. But IMG, I think it cost us about £20 each way for the taxi. So again, it's not that bad for 50-minute taxi journey.
How's the food out there?
In Dubai? Amazing. I mean, if you like American fast food, it's pretty much the same as that. So it's like, if you get your Coke, it comes in a bucket. Like it's just insane. And they've got
like supersize me sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I was like, any like fast food place, because we were trying to keep the trip as cheap as possible. And if you do eat fast food out there, it is really cheap, because a lot of people think like Dubai is extremely expensive, and we managed to do all the parks. We got like a combi ticket from a website. I think it was called like Attraction Tickets, something like that, and it was £86 for I think 4 different attractions. So we chose Motion Gate, IMG, Wild Wadi. I think it was actually just those 3. So 3 parks and £86, and they're about £52 each if you book them on their own website. So we saved a lot of money doing that, and then it was quite cheap for all the food out there as well, as long as you're just not eating in fancy restaurants and stuff. Because you see all like the Instagrammers and stuff are like these amazing expensive restaurants where they got like gold leaf steaks and stuff. But if you want to just go and get a burger from Mackey's, it's a lot cheaper than the UK. You could probably like a Big Mac meal is like £2.50 out there, and that's like for the big ones. So it's just crazy, like how different it actually is when you're there compared to what you see on TV.
So we segue that. What park do you think has the best food offering in the UK?
I honestly Thought Park for me. I feel like it's got the most variety. It's got a couple of franchises in there, so if you don't want the Merlin food, you can get that. But then it's also got a big selection of non-franchise food as well, because you've got like pizza pasta, you've got you've honestly got quite a lot. Whereas Towers, it's just hot dogs, burgers, chips. Like that's it really. So yeah, Thorpe Park for me.
Is your favourite singular place to eat at Thorpe Park, or is it just that you feel it's got the best overall?
I just think it's got the most
selection?
variety. Yeah, I think it's definitely got the most variety, and those. I think it's the ice cream cookies that you can get by Darren Brown's Ghost Train. They are my favorite Merlin food. Like flat out, they're amazing. They're so good. Yeah. So
Do you agree with them, Austyn, or are you more of a Towers fan?
No, I think I agree. But I mean, I think over the years, I think the park's offerings have got worse. So it gets harder to decide, at places, because especially with Merlin, things pop up and then they can go for a change so quickly and so easily. So, but no, I think Thorpe's got a good selections, especially with all the franchise stuff. But I think also to consider, as much as it's not linked with the park, but Fantasy Island has a lot to offer as well, because it's got obviously all the fish and chip shops and everything surrounding, because it's obviously by the sea, but it's got literally everything from Subway to kebabs to Chinese to India. It's literally got every takeaway. It's literally in its area of the because the park. I know the park's in the area, but literally next to the arcade and on the same, I guess, plot as it has all of that. So there is probably the most food offering there at Fantasy Island I've seen.
What about Paulton's Park?
I've just seen Dan say that, and he really rates. Honestly, I think Paulton's is one of the worst for the food. Other than the diner at Route 54, I can't think of anything that they do that's different.
Yeah, I enjoyed the route. The new one is all right.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the beer to be installed, but
yeah, I'm not sure I really rate Paulton's, and it's really expensive for food as well. I really like the park. I do really like the park, but it's extremely expensive for food there.
I think Legoland's the worst for it, though. I think Legoland's the most expensive out of the lot.
Yeah.
Whenever I've been to Legoland, I've always waited for the back of the hotel to open up the restaurant there and go in there.
What, by the hotel?
I think it's in the hotel, isn't it?
I've not gone in the hotel ever, so.
Oh no, I've not stayed there, but you can go in there if you're going to. You used to be able to anyway. You used to go in there and just get the kind of. It was a buffet. You keep going around. Can't remember how much it was, but it was worth it. You got the Lego fries as well.
Oh really?
It's Lego fries and burgers mainly I went on, but there was other stuff there. It was,
but Mike, saying that, do you remember when remember Pegoland and the Lego fires?
Oh God, it's funny. I've got Tom on the show next week. You're definitely going to want to watch out and catch up. I've got Tom and Steve, Vig, and Mers coming on, and Paige might come on. That's a maybe from him because something's happening, so he might get called away. So that's probably going to come up next week.
That's about right.
But yes, I remember Pegoland. A friend of ours called Tom. I won't say his second name. But you'll hear it next week. Made a theme park website called Pegoland, and he didn't proofread any of the stuff he wrote until we read through it. And it was about Lego fries, but the whole article he wrote Lego fires.
It was a great website. I mean, I think
he should have brought that back.
And I still think, you know what? I still think there's images or parts of it up actually, because I'm pretty sure I looked at it I don't know, probably a while ago now. But
you've looked at it recently, have you?
It would have been in the last year. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still.
That's a Green Hornet.
Yeah, there you go. That's the logo at night.
Which
rides is that? The Velociraptor.
That's the trains for Velociraptor. So again, it's the standard Mac launch trains. Yeah, they were really good, to be honest. There was a little bit of a rattle. I don't know if it's because of the heat, over there, but it seemed a bit more prominent than the normal Mac rattle. But it wasn't rough by any means. But yeah, it was really. I was actually quite surprised how much of the launch packs a punch, because I'm so used to how weak Icon's launches are. The launch actually does pack a decent punch on that one. That's that's in the Burj Khalifa. That's the world's tallest building, if anybody doesn't know. So we went up that was 124th floor, I think it is. So, pretty crazy when you think about the height.
Can you actually go? How close to the top can you go?
I think 132 floors. I think that's the highest you're allowed to go in it. That's the highest observation deck in the world. And then after that, there's a couple of floors where it's just apartments and offices, and then it's all just a big spire. So but you do get pretty high. So like the buildings in the background that you can see there, like some of those are the same height as the Empire State Building. Do you need to put it in perspective? Like the hotel opposite ours, that was taller than the Empire State Building, and it still was dwarfed by the Burj. It's insane. But we did the morning, I think it was called like sunrise breakfast package, and it was about £20 each, and I think it's around 40 something pound in the day if you want to go up normally, and there's other packages, but it was about £20 each if you do the sunrise package. It's the first slot of the day. We had to get up at 4 a.m. ready for sunrise, but it includes your breakfast, going up to the top of the Burj, and then obviously you see the sun come up over the UAE, what was pretty amazing and cheaper as well. So again, like you can save a bit of money doing stuff like that.
Is that the highest deck? I don't even know if you can. What is the highest deck you can go outside?
That one that we're on there, yeah. So it is outside, but like the glass is really high in front of you. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you can still like look up at the building, and there's at least another 1,000 feet above you. It's insane the scale of that building. So
did you both want to do the quiz this week?
Go on then. I've got a pen and paper.
This is. Oh, I didn't know if you wanted to do it together as a team.
We could do it together.
Okay, yeah.
Austyn's like, yeah, I'll let him do the legwork.
Yeah.
This is a Dean on thrillnation situation. Let him do all the work.
This takes me back to lockdown vibes when we were doing the weekly quizzes on multiple like Thrillnation quizzes.
I've tried to put some easy ones in and some hard ones, and hopefully it's a good mix. No, because if you saw the Theme Park fan episode a few weeks ago, they scored 9 out of 10. And then when David and Dan Marks were on, they got 4 out of 10, and I thought they'd get all the questions I put. So
I've got my eyes set on beating Dan.
So just say it out. How tall is the Jolly Roger at Pleasurewood Hills?
I know that's the drop tower, isn't it?
It's the drop tower, yeah.
Is it 115 feet, same height as detonator?
I've got the answer in meters here.
Oh, okay. Christ, meters.
Okay, so
how much is 115 feet in meters?
32 meters, I'm going to say. 33.
35 meters. Is that what you want to say?
Then go on then, yeah. I'll say 35.
40.
Oh, okay. That's taller than I thought
it was. Not far off, to be fair.
Yeah, I wasn't far off. What is it in feet then?
It's it's more than 115. I just converted 115.
Trying to get a point there.
Number 2, Chessington Zoo opened in 1931. But what year did Chester World Adventures become a theme park?
Oh, I know it was the 80s. I'm pretty sure.
It's in the 80s, yeah. I'll give you that.
If it was going to be, I would have said 84, 86, just bang in the middle, but no guess. I'm stabbing in the dark.
What was that? What was his answer?
84, 86.
Oh, yeah, I'll go 84. I always go with the first.
Okay.
It's 1987.
Oh.
Which year did Alton Towers close the corkscrew?
2008.
Yes. He's got it. He's got it.
I would have had no idea.
I know Coaster Force were there for that last thing.
I went on the last, not the last public train. There was a competition for that. But I went on the last one before the last public train. I went inside the queue just after the bit where they closed the queue and just stood there till they closed it.
Yeah.
So everyone just walked past. In which county is Drayton Manor situated?
I don't know. I drive past it all the time, but
I know it's in Tamworth, but I don't know the county. Is it Staffordshire?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is? Yeah. Yes, there we go.
Staffordshire, yeah. Number 5. Blackpool Pleasure Beach's rollercoaster Infusion went by what name when it was at Southport Pleasure Land?
Traumatizer.
Yes. He's doing all the work, Austyn. He's doing all the work.
Honestly.
Come on, Austyn.
I would score 0 at the moment. Like, these are far too much for me.
I'll tell you what, Austyn, you can have a go at this one. In what country is Oakwood Theme Park?
Oh, well, is it Wales?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Smashed it.
Before being moved to Thorpe Park, where was Samurai situated?
Chessington.
Chessington.
Yes. You know them all now, Austyn.
I know some, but not.
Which company manufactured Velocity at Flamingo Land?
Vekoma.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you get them all now. What is the name of Adventure Island's Eurofighter roller coaster?
Rage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rage.
Number 10. What area of Alton Towers is home to Jewel the Haunted House Strikes Back?
Haunted Hollow. Is it?
A little bit.
Oh no, it's not Haunted Hollow. That's the walkthrough.
That's the walkthrough.
Oh, no.
What's the name of the area?
Oh my gosh. Wow, I feel stupid for not knowing this. That's literally just there.
I think because it's what? It's not Forbidden Valley, is it?
No.
Because that's
Believe me, Wood.
You're gonna kick. Yeah, he's got it. He's got it.
I can hear someone downstairs shouting the answer for that one.
6, 7, 8. I think you got 8.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
That is the second best score
Was that double what
we've
Dan
had on the
Marks
show.
got?
That's more than what Dan Marks got. He got 4 out of 10 with David.
There we go.
So you'll be hearing that
Getting
off you, I bet.
roasted. Definitely.
It's much better than I would have only got like 2 or 3 of them. Christ.
Oh, you were getting quite a few near the end.
Yeah, some of them are right. Some of them are, I don't know, things I don't actually like remember or take note of.
How much do you take note of?
Well, it depends. It depends what I'm covering and things like that. You've got, like I said, when I go to some of these parks and like I'm doing like visits, there's a lot more to cover than the stats. So
I'm guessing it wasn't you writing the Thrillnation quizzes then.
it was. I did all
It
of them.
was.
Thrillnation had quizzes?
Yeah,
we
lockdown, yeah.
We did over 10 quizzes, so I wrote over 500 questions. It was like over like 500 questions, I think, overall.
Did you write them, or did you just get them off the internet? Or
no, I wrote most of them. Some of them that were like I got inspiration from on the internet, but most of them were. But it wasn't all about theme parks. I did stuff about like escape rooms and other like Halloween attractions and other bits and pieces as well. So
yeah. That's when I used to crumble. I used to get really competitive on those quizzes. Like we'd all be on the Discord like group chats and stuff, and I'd be getting like really angry if I get something wrong. And then I'm like, why the hell are they putting these stupid questions in about an escape room? How am I meant to know that?
Yeah, like some people are like,
are you putting questions about escape rooms in your quiz?
Yeah, but the more
it's almost like Inception, almost.
No, but I released all the quiz rounds prior, and like it wasn't. I tried to be not so, the questions were more generic, but it was like how long is an escape room typically, and things like that more so than what's
your favorite escape room you've done? You do them quite often, do you?
Yeah, well, quite big in reviewing them, thankfully. But
I was going to go, I'm in one right now.
You know what, I probably have to it's hard to always pinpoint one, but one of the best ones we recently done last year was over in Kingston upon Thames, and they had a heist room, and it was really, really cool because you start by, they've got like a back of a van in the building, and you get in by like a sliding door van. They close you in, and it's just it's like a heist thing. So you do all like the typical escape room things, you're solving puzzles, but there was like a person that comes in the room and does things. And like you had to order a takeaway and things like that. And then
they actually bring you the food.
Yeah, it's like they bring you like a fake box and stuff like that. But yeah, you had to like order a pizza, and it was like a dinosaur pizza place, and you had to like call up. Like the room wasn't just stuck to the room.
What, and there'd be like a tool delivered in the box instead of a pizza and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it was like, but when you're speaking to the person on the phone, they were playing a character. So, but what was weird is you think with an escape room, you have one games master that looks after you. That's typically the rule. Some places might have more than, have one person looks after more than one game. But at this place, they were really clever and original because they have multiple people that you speak to. So, because I spoke to someone and it was a guy on the phone, and the next time I called them up, it was a female. And I was like, I mean, unless they are really good at like changing their voice, like this is really trippy. But
You just went, sorry, I've called the wrong number.
That's what it felt like, right? But it was really good because there were so many different bits. You had to like call up an insurance company, and you had to call up a pizza place, and it wasn't as simple as like it's better than an average escape room where you're just solving puzzles by yourself. Like over there, they could tailor it and mess you around. Like you had to sing a song, for example, but they can change that. There's loads of little cool quirky bits with it, and it's like one of the best like interactive ones, and I think it's one of the highest rated escape
hang on,
rooms.
it's kicking off here. Adam says he's never cashed in his prize. What was the prize?
I don't know. What was it? I don't know.
Thrillnation quiz back in the day. He's never cashed in his prize.
Oh, it was. I think he's one to come to the escape room I work at. I think, and he hasn't never cashed that in.
So do you take ideas from other escape rooms when you go to them? Do you go, that little bit's good, I might tweak that?
No, really. I mean, the escape room I work at, I mean, I was very fortunate to be a part of the project from shortly after the get-go. I was like one of the first team members they hired, and I'm still there now, as much as I don't work there too often. But I've helped like develop all of the rooms and change the storyline and added some puzzles and removed puzzles and tested it all. So it's really cool. But now we're really different because we built it all ourselves, and it's all like, you know, all done in-house. So it's really cool. So yeah, I'm surprised I don't cash that in yet.
I know you don't. I know you don't rate top things, Austyn, but have you got top 3 scare mazes, past or current, in the UK?
I can do. I think. I mean, asking me on the spot is terrible. But if you give me 2 seconds, I have.
He's got a list. Well, while he's doing that, I'll ask Owen if he's got 3.
For UK. I'm trying to think. I really, really did like Subspecies in the first year they did it. That was fantastic. Every year after that, I didn't really enjoy it as much. I don't know if it's because I knew the element of surprise, you know, with the opening scene and stuff like that. But definitely Subspecies. That was fantastic. The Asylum at Fort Park, you know, a really old, old school one. I thought that was brilliant. I'm trying to think what else I've done. I've done a couple of standalone event ones. There was the ones last year. I don't really know the names of the mazes, but we went to Twin Lakes and did an event there.
Extreme Scream.
Extreme Scream, yeah. And there was I can't remember what it was, but there was a really good one. It was prison themed, and I really enjoyed that one.
I don't like the end of that one with the guy with the gun. I thought that was a bit anticlimactic, just to have a guy stood there with a gun.
Wait, what, in Extreme Scream?
Yeah, there's a prison one. If it's the one, I think you're thinking of, it's I can't remember what it's called now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was my favourite one. I think, but they all blur into one with me now. All I know is I'm getting scared. Like
I liked one that's not there anymore, but Extreme Scream, quite a few years ago, had one that was themed around posh people sending you to be sacrificed to the wolves. It's called The Run or something, I can't remember. But it was blindfolded for the most of it. And the best bit was when you got unblindfolded, you got it just taken off you, this like Hessian sack, by someone dressed as a wolf, and there's loads of strobe lights. You're just like, what the fuck's going on? And I also like Boiler House, but that's not been at Towers for like over a decade now.
No, I never got to do that. I never got to do Towers
because that was kind of more realistic, which I think they try to shy away from. But because it was just 2 murderers basically.
Yeah.
But as Austyn got his list,
heating boiler house.
Yeah, I've got a list, but I mean it's not the list I wanted. I haven't actually done. So basically, I rate every single Halloween attraction I go into. I have an in-depth rating system, and so I rate it out
of a certain number.
Yeah, I rate it out of 30. Out of
different things.
Yeah, so it's like rated out of. I haven't got the. Hold on, I might have it here. Hold on, I think I found it. Yeah, because it's rated out of 3 different categories. Because everything that we do, so even escape rooms and stuff like that, we rate out of top. Out of 30. So escape rooms is like theming and storyline is out of 10. Puzzles and flow are out of 10, and then the uniqueness, because different rooms with that. So with Halloween, we rate them out of. I'm trying to remember each one. For Halloween, it was scares, so how scary it was, theming and storyline, and then the actors, because we realized after doing so many that sometimes the actors were amazing, but they weren't designed to be scary. Whereas sometimes they were scary, but they might have not. Like some of them might have been really scary, and the whole like theme of the maze was scary, but the actors were actually lazy and poor. So we really wanted to.
Did you write that in your reviews?
Yeah, we do. The thing is, we've been in so many mazes. Like, there's some events we've gone to, and you see actors that are like, I understand they're hard works and everything like that, but we've gone through mazes, and like we've seen actors, like we've gone through the maze 2 or 3 times, and that actor has sat down and not bothered at all to scare anyone.
That's why you have a VIP lanyard, so they know to.
But it's weird. It's weird to think of that. But I mean, looking at the ratings last year, it was funny enough. It's events. So the scariest thing I did was Park Asterix. I can't pronounce it, so my
that doesn't count. That doesn't count. The question was for UK. Yeah.
Okay, well, UK. What it would have been Malefica Fear at Avon Valley, which was incredible. I think that scored like 29 out of 30. Dr. Fright's Killer Clowns from Ibiza. That was a really cool take on a maze, I thought, because that was like a mixture of a party and then obviously clowns. So it's to have that kind of mixture, and it had some really good like theming parts to it. And then Creed Farm at Screamfest Burton, although that was really controversial because what it was beforehand was my favourite maze by far. Obviously, Day of the Dead theme, but they got rid of it last year. So
was the one at Burton the one? Didn't they have a scare maze and it was themed on a little girl's nightmares or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, Insomnia. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like?
That was okay. It got better. I think it got better throughout that year it was open, but it was weird because it was kind of like there was elements of it that you missed, and it was one of their like okay, and it was like a really cool theme. Like the queue line was one of the coolest things about it because it had like a pre-show to it before you went into the maze, and not many mazes, I don't think any mazes do that, to have like the story played out before you get into the maze. So so obviously if you were queuing, you got to see the whole story, and if you only queue for like 2 minutes, then you didn't get to see it. So it's one of those things. But yeah, Screamfest Burton's like definitely up their game. Like they last year they really upped their game. Screamfest Burton's like always getting better with their mazes and ideas. Like I think a lot of places are taking feedback really, really heavily and updating like their weakest maze, like their clown maze, for example, at Screamfest Burton was always it was fun. It was always fun and cool.
It's not designed to be that though, is it? Well, it's not meant to be.
No, but it was just, yeah, it seemed cheap in some parts, and like there was no story to it, and there was just some quirky rooms, and you can get the odd jump scare, and that's what it was. But they like last year they like tripled the size of it, for example, and it was completely different. So yeah, they would be my top 3. But I'd like there's so many that literally if every event brought something, and it's different because I rated them like out of top 3 depending on like theming and storyline. I broke it down like Doncaster Fear Factory, like they're like quite a small event, but they had one of the scariest attractions I went in last year, and it was like wasn't expected because they had 3 attractions, and we went, obviously didn't know anything too much about the event prior to going, so we knew we had 3 attractions to do, and we just went random order. So we went to the furthest, it was in like a forest, so we went to the furthest back one first, and we was told, oh yeah, this is the scariest. We went through it and it was terrible. It had a great introduction, but then it was terrible. It was cheap, it was quick, it was rushed, and that was it. And then they had a long outdoor walk kind of style one, and that was okay, but it was outdoors, so it couldn't really be that scary, but it had like chainsaws and things like that, so that's cool. And then they had a proper indoor maze called Yana, and that had an ending that I've been waiting to see for probably the whole time I've been doing Halloween mazes, because their end scene was an actual maze filled with the room was filled with smoke, strobes, and it had a guy with a chainsaw in there, and it was a proper maze with dead ends in it. So you were going.
All right, so you could stay in there a while.
So yeah, exactly. Like you would lose your group with it, and all you could hear is a guy with a chainsaw laughing and revving it, and you didn't know where he was, and you didn't know if he could get you because you ran into a dead end, but you didn't know how far, if he was next to you or where. So that was incredible because we got stuck in there for a good like 5 minutes, and that was for an ending. That was so cool. Like it's just to see an experience that actually has dead ends and not like one path or like two paths where one's a dead end and the other's the exit. This had like 5, 6, 7, 8 different routes. You couldn't tell. It was you couldn't see further than your hand. So yeah, there's a lot to rave about for Halloween.
So if we want to wind down there, did you both want to go through your social media links for people watching where they can find you?
Yeah, I'll go first then. So you can find me on Twitter. I don't really use Twitter that much, but I am on there. It's Owen Taylor 121. Instagram, I'm a lot more active on there as well. That's the same, Owen Taylor 121. And then just Owen Taylor on Facebook. The picture's me sat down on the floor in the beige. So yeah, more than welcome to add me on there as well. And you'll probably see me complaining in a couple of the mailing groups from time to time. So if you do see me on the comments, add me from that.
Yeah.
Austyn, have you...
So how do I follow? Yeah, I'll complain. I mean, we're on what? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and by just searching Thrillnation, we'll come up. This should be on the first results. And then,
By the way, it's like, I'm not going to tell you what it is. Just go to Google.
No, but
you should know anyway.
Do the work yourself.
No, it's because some of them are called like just Thrillnation. Then we've got Thrillnation Official, and then there's like slightly. Then I think like the Instagram is like Thrillnation off because I was trying to shorten official. And then we've got the website thrillnation.net because thrillnation.com costs too much money. So
yeah, so we'll end it there. And for anyone who was trying to watch at the start, we kind of got a bit mismatched in what we were doing, and the link got lost, and so the start was a bit all over the place there. But yeah, it's been decent. I think we left people wanting more, so
yeah, that's what you want to
sometime in the future. Yeah, but cheers for coming on. And next week we're gonna have some crazy characters from 2 PM, including Tom, talking about Thought Park Mania in the glory days
and the Lego fires.
Oh god, the Lego fires, yeah. So I'll see you next week, and cheers for coming on, both of you.
Thank you. Thanks very much.